particularly because there's so many kids in this class and some of you guys are struggling. We haven't had as much time to go over the homework as I want to. So I am each day when we check the homework, every single day, I'm going to have whoever checks the homework look at one question from the previous day's work and try to help you through it. That'll help the person checking the homeworks, and it'll also help the people who are going there. Alan, did you see any common mistakes from last night's homework on that question? What did you see?
Mistakes?
Yeah, but like for instance, did you see a lot of people find X but then not go back and get Y? Did you see a lot of people forget to check? Did you see something in there as you looked at the people's papers? No, nothing common? All right, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but listen, everybody. When you check the homework, I'm going to be looking for that because it's feedback to me that lets me know where there might be a common mistake. For instance, maybe 7 or 8 of you did the check on today's quiz. Almost every person didn't check, but if you look at the directions here, it says graph the following system of equations, solve and check. Yet very, very few people actually checked. So obviously we're going to need to get a little bit better at that. So when you go around and you check the homeworks, there's a reason I'm going to pick the question I pick every day. It's something that I think is important, and I want to see if something's going on. So when you check the homeworks, look for that very specific thing that that I put on there for you to go over. Okay, so now we took the quiz today, and there were some zeros, which there's no way that should happen. Absolutely no way. The first line, I think everybody should have gotten right. And as I looked, the most popular grade was a 40. And those people who got 40s, virtually every single person got the first graph correct, which means that we can do the easy ones. Not virtually, but most people screwed up the second one. That means you're having a hard time with the hard ones. And then most people forgot to check. Remember what we said yesterday. Each line is going to be worth 40 points. 20 points for the slope, 20 points for the y-intercept for each line. That's 40 per line, that adds up to 80, and 20 points for the check. So if you did not get this particular graph right, there's no need to panic. The first quiz, what's the purpose of the first quiz always? Show you what you're doing wrong. So obviously it's going to show you what you did wrong. Nobody got 100. Now, you go home tonight, and before you start your homework, go over the quiz again. If I were you, if I got a disappointing grade on the quiz, I would make sure I watch today's video, which I'll put up on YouTube at the end of the period, and just go over the quiz part. You know, make sure you're able to get this right. Okay, so we look at the first one, and again, if you judge how much you understand, not by what I expect you to understand, but what your classmates did, most of your classmates got question 1 completely right. So that's a good thing. That means you can handle the basics. Stop doing your homework and get your quiz. Oh, you don't have a quiz. I'm going to give you a copy of it. But stop racing ahead on your homework. Listen, Kevin, I'm all okay with getting homework done once the work is done. But when we start getting into the work, we don't keep doing the homework. Otherwise, you're doing homework and you don't even have a clue what we're supposed to be learning from the lesson here. Okay, so once again, this one is something that the vast majority of you got correct. What's the general equation of a line, everybody? Y equals mx plus b. Good. What does m stand for? Slope. What's b stand for? Y-intercept. So what is the slope on this top line? X is never part of the slope. -2. Or -2/1. Either way. And what's the y-intercept? 9. So I look on your papers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, down 2/1. And on virtually every person's paper, at least 80% of you, you guys started at 9, right here, perfectly, down 2/1, down 2/1. That looked very, very good. So if you did not get that right, it's not shame, but I want you to understand that 80% of your classmates got it right. So I'm sure if you go home tonight and you look it up and you practice it, you'll get it right tomorrow. I have no doubt about that. Because it's very predictable and it's very straightforward. Now we get to the ones where I would say maybe 30% of you got it right. What's the problem with 2y equals 3x plus 4? There's a huge problem here. There's a huge issue. What's the huge issue, Alan? It says 2y. What's the general equation of a line equal again? Y equals. What does this say? 2y equals. So what's the bad thing? Ulysses, what's the bad thing here that's not supposed to be there? I know you can do this, buddy. Look over here. What's it supposed to say? Y equals, right? Agree? What does this say? Does it say y equals? No, what does it say? 2y equals, good. When we don't write a symbol between the 2 and the y, that means multiply, right? What's the opposite? Oppositivo. What is the opposite of to multiply? Everybody. Divide, division. So I divide by 2. That gives me y equals 3/2 x plus 2. Now does it say y equals? Yes or no? Yes. So now you can say what the slope is, and now you can say what the y-intercept is. What's the slope, everybody? 3/2. Good. What's the y-intercept? 2. Where do I begin? 2. And now I go up 3/2. Oh, look at that. Right to a perfect point. I love that. Up 3/2. Up 3/2. Backside. Draw. And I get 2y equals 3x plus 4. Now, what's the very next thing you do the minute you draw the two lines? Write the coordinate where they cross. And that would be 2, 5. Now, Rita and one or two other people got that right, pretty much.
I didn't know if I had to do it or not, so I just put it there.
Well, let me write this on here, y equals 2x, negative 2x plus 9. You know what you did forget to do, Rita, is you forgot to write the lines on it, the names of the lines.
Is that why I
Everybody
got
look at your
points
paper. Almost all of you forgot to put the equations of the lines on there. Okay, if you forgot, put it on now.
on? Is that why I got 5 points off?
Yes. Okay, so remember what we said. We said on each line, the slope is worth 20 and the y-intercept's worth 20. So on the blue line, we did the slope and we did the y-intercept, that's 20 and 20, that adds up to 40. On the red line, slope y-intercept, that's 20 and 20, that adds up to 40. 40 and 40 are 80. But we also need to check, because the direction said to check. And very few of you guys checked. So we need to take the 2, 5 and plug it in. Remember, any point is always xy. So the x is 2, the y is 5. So 5 equals negative 2 times 2 plus 9. What is negative 2 times 2? Negative 4 plus 9, and that means 5 is 5. Check. And over here, I'm going to get 2 times 5 equals 3 times 2 plus 4. That would be 10 equals 6 plus 4. 10 equals 10. Check. Okay? So there is my check area. That has to be shown. Without the check, you're not going to get full credit. That's the last 20 points. Now, what do you think would be a really good idea for you to do to help you prepare better for tomorrow's quiz? Study, look over the sheet. Is there anything you can do right now on your sheet that you think will help you?
Write a note.
Yeah, write yourself a note of what you should have done right that you didn't get right. So I'm going to pause for a minute now. Write yourself a note. Go ahead. Wherever you went wrong, whatever you didn't do correctly. So take a minute. Let's get that done. Write yourself a note what you could have done a little bit better. Okay, what were some of the things you guys wrote that you had to remind yourself to do better? Some of the common mistakes on this quiz? Ken,
Check the problem.
check the problem. Yeah, almost all of you forgot to check. A few of you checked, but not too many. Luis, what'd you write? Same thing with check? What about on the second question? What did most of you guys forget to do? What did we forget to do on this guy? What's that? Yeah, we gotta divide by the 2. That was the big common mistake that I saw on the second question. So if you didn't divide by 2 and you didn't write yourself that in a note, make it a point to write yourself a little bit of a note right now. Yeah, as far as what a note does, it's whatever reminds it for you. I used to do wacky stuff. This is how I would write myself a note. Ready? I try to make things fun, and I try to have a little bit of a sense of humor. So I would write something like this. Yo, idiot.
I know, you showed us.
Yeah, I'd say, how can you forget to divide by 2? How can you forget to divide by 2? Your amazing, incomparable math teacher showed you to do that. So I'd always write myself little notes, little things of humor. And then I would go home and I would say to myself, and I'd look things over. Always, always, always. Before I started my homework, every single day, I would always look over my notes. I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. You ready for a secret?
Yeah.
It's a dirty little secret.
Dirty.
Dirty little secret. When I went to college,
Ew, buddy.
I almost never went to class.
That's a big thing.
It's true.
You know this is recording, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Now, I want you to understand why. I was not a lazy bum. In fact, I was quite the opposite. When I went to school, my parents loved me. They loved me very much. I had wonderful parents. They could not afford to give me any money for college. So I paid the whole thing myself. And because I paid all of that money myself to go to college, I needed to make the money. So I had several jobs. And a lot of my jobs required that I work till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I would work until 2 or 3 in the morning, and I would be exhausted. I wasn't getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning to go to class. And what I would do is I lived with a bunch of people who were math majors, and they would take the notes for me every day. And I would come home, and their notes would be sitting for me on the kitchen table. And at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I would start going through the notes. And I would start teaching myself. And the first thing I would do is check the answers to any work that I did. And anything that I did not get correct, I would immediately start going over those questions again and again and again before I would, so that I could see how to do things the right way. And then once I knew how to do some things the right way, I would begin to try to teach myself the new material. And eventually I got very, very good at it, obviously, because not only did I graduate, but I made the dean's list, I think 6 out of 8 semesters. I had one really bad semester. My friends call that my professional hockey semester. So, okay, let's take a look at this. Here's our first question on the Do It today. And this is our last day of working with the elimination technique. We swirled yesterday. We talked about the word eliminate. What does the word eliminate mean?
Get rid of.
To get rid of. Everybody turn around to the person next to you. I want the person on the window side. Tell them what eliminate means.
Get rid of.
Get rid of.
Now, the person on the other side, I want you to tell me about something you can eliminate, something you have eliminated in your life.
Let's see.
James.
You want to be gross?
Oh, no. You're supposed to say yesterday.
Oh, I did.
Wants to limit
Okay.
these little.
Yes, you can eliminate pee and caca. Okay? Now,
Eliminate boys.
you can eliminate boys?
Yeah, like boys.
Then the human population would end in a few years.
Good.
Thank God.
Now, let's take a look at this question. Ready?
Fire.
In each of the problems below, solve for both. Look at that, it's capitalized. Both of the variables. And I'm going to add and check. Everybody write and check on your paper. Why do you suppose I wrote and check? Why would I add the and check? Come on. What'd you forget to do on your quiz?
Check.
Check. Now, take a look at that. What makes you think you should use the elimination technique? Besides the fact that today is elimination day 3. Jalen.
Variables are lined up.
Perfect answer, Miss Griffiths. Nice. X's on top of X's, Y's on top of Y's, equals numbers. But there's a problem. What's the problem? There is definitely a problem with the way it looks so far. What?
No, that's wrong. Never mind.
Go ahead. Yeah, we want it can be the X's or the Y's. I know we usually do the ones in the middle, but it could have been the first one. I have to get them to have the same number. So you're gonna have to multiply the top equation by something to match these numbers up. I'm gonna give you a minute and a half or so to get going on that, and then we'll go over it. Go ahead. Right, you should have done that before, so some of you guys might be a little ahead of the game.
So you have to multiply something.
Yeah, you're gonna have to multiply the top equation by something to match up those Y's. All right? Come on, focus. Sam, I'm looking at a lot of blank space there. Know what I mean? Come on, think, try. You're allowed to get things wrong. You're always allowed to get things wrong. It does not make you bad to get things wrong when you're trying something. Right? If my car doesn't work and I sit there and go, oh, my car doesn't work, oh, I wish my car worked, oh. Is the car ever gonna get up and work?
Yeah.
No, I gotta get under there and start tinkering with the engine.
So you can throw on a body
I'm
shot.
liking it, but you gotta multiply everything by 2. That includes this and this. Okay, another few seconds to get going in the right direction here. Yep. I'll show it tomorrow when they come in. Okay, so let's take a look here. We mentioned before that the problem was that the Y's don't match up. Is there something I can multiply the top equation by that will get the Y's to match up? Rena? 2. So, Rena, I noticed you didn't write it like this on your paper, but I think it helps to do that because it kind of reminds you to distribute the 2 to all 3 terms instead of just the middle term. Guys, what's 2 times 5x? 10x. What's 2 times negative 2y? Minus 4y, don't forget the negative, equals, and 2 times 29 is 58. Now I got 3x plus 4y equals 11. And you know what's really cool here? Now do the y's match up? Yeah. So I could go die, and I get 13x equals 69. Now, how many times does 13 go into 69? Oh, this is a problem. It doesn't go in evenly, does it?
That is the problem.
Right? 5 would be 69. Oh, man. All right. So I'm going to stop at this point. I don't know how I screwed this up, but I obviously screwed it up. I would then divide by 13 and go on. Okay? But we have to match up that number. At least this helped us match it up. All right, let's go forward to the next problem. I'm sorry about messing that one up on you guys. I'm not happy that I screwed that up. But like I just said to you guys, sometimes we make mistakes. Okay, now take a look at the next one. We have 4x plus 3y equals negative 1. And we have 3x minus 2y equals 12. First off, remember what Jalen said before? I said, how do you know if you use the elimination technique? And she gave the perfect answer. Does anybody remember what her answer was? Chelsea? Yeah, they're lined up. Good. X's on top of X's, Y's on Y's, this and here. And it's helpful, you don't have to have it, but it's helpful to have opposite signs. Now, I want you to know, on every problem, you could always get rid of the first letter, or you can always get rid of the second letter. It always works that way. But in this problem, because the signs are opposite with the Y, it's easier to get rid of the Y. Now, What's the problem? What is the problem, Jeff? They don't match up. Very good. Now, they're not matching up, but think about least common denominators in elementary school fractions. What number could I use 3 and 2 to both go into so I could match them up? 6. Very good. What do I have to multiply the top one by to get 6? 2. What do I have to multiply the bottom one by? 3. So I'm going to pause for a second now. Write out what happens when you distribute the 2 and when you distribute the 3. Just write it here, and stop. Distribute the 2, distribute the 3, and then stop. Okay, so now, when I distribute, what's 2 times 4x? 8x. What's 2 times 3y?
6y.
And what's 2 times negative 1? Everybody? Negative 2. Now, what's 3 times 3x? 9x. What's 3 times negative 2y?
6y.
Negative 6y. And what's 3 times 12? 36. Nice. What do you notice that lets you say to yourself, I know I'm doing this right. I'm in the right direction. I am definitely off to a good start. Fernando, what makes you know you're in the right direction here? The wiser, yeah, and the opposite signs. Okay? Now, they don't have to be, but it's helpful for that. So that's perfect. Die. What's 8x's and 9x's? 17x's. Good. What's negative 2 and 36? What is it? 34. I divide by 17, and I get that x is 2. Okay? Now, I'm going to pause for a minute, and I want you to use either original equation, that's the ones in black, to go back and find y. Go ahead. I kind of like the top one because the x's and y's are positive, but you can use either one. Alan, get rid of those. You just know this graphing quiz this week. Next week is going to be an eliminate quiz, right? You know that's coming. Okay, so I can use either equation. I think we're better off going with the top one, right? Angelina, you with me here? So I'm going to get 4x plus 3y is negative 1. And it says here that x is 2. Did I? I'm sorry. Negative 1. Thank you. So 4 times 2 plus 3y is negative 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3y is negative 1 minus the 8. 3y is negative 9. Divide by 3, y is negative 3. So I've got my x and I've got my y, and I'm almost done. What's the one last thing I have to do that I forgot to do on the quiz today, that the class forgot to do on the quiz today? Jalen? Check. Good. So to check, you write the 2 equations over the original ones. Go ahead. Everybody check. Use x is 2 and y is 3. By the way, if I graph this, what would be the coordinates where they met or intersected? 2, 3. Good. 2, negative 3. I'm sorry. All right, don't forget to check tomorrow, guys. Hasta la vista. Vaya con Dios. Toodaloo. Ta-ta. Arrivederci. Smile a lot. Ciao. Arrivederci. Adios, amigos y amigas. Cheerio. Ta-ta. Toodaloo. See ya. Enjoy, Dowling. I'm looking for back to real Dowling tomorrow.